Okay, it looks like everyone is getting to their seats, so good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the annual Fayette County Chamber of Commerce Dinner and Awards Banquet. Gertrude has a wonderful program for us tonight, and she has put me in charge to tell you what to do, when to do it, and where to go. So with that, let's get started. We'd like to have Stacy Ware come up. We're going to have everybody please stand, and she'll do the national anthem. Stacy here. Stacy here. Ooh, I can't sing.
They may not have come. One
Okay.
thing I will say is
Okay.
we've had quite a few who have called because of children with flu being released from school today and such. And so I don't see Stacy and Richie right now. I'm not going to sing, but I'm just going to ask everyone that Jim Fraley, would you step forward, please, and do us the honors?
There you go. How about
No, I can't sing, so, but I guess I better know the words, huh? All right, let me catch my breath here. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hey, would you like to do the convocation? Just say a prayer.
What's that?
You just want to say a prayer for the convocation?
Oh, sure. Okay. Doug's asked me to say the blessing. So if you would all please bow. Lord Jesus, we thank you for bringing us all together here this evening. We thank you for beautiful Fayette County and all the people with nothing but good wishes for Fayette County who are here this evening. And thank you for bringing Mr. Benner to speak to us this evening. God bless Fayette County. God bless Indiana. God bless the United States of America. Amen.
Thank you, Jim. Well, we just found out who's going to do it next year. Thanks a lot, Jim. We appreciate it. All right, now we're going to have Ginger Scholl, who has some extensive experience in the food business. She will be the table captains and let each table know which one to start off and hit the buffet line. So it's up to Ginger Scholl. It's up to you to start picking some tables for us. Thanks. Also too, I want to mention that the bar will be open through dinner also. So the bar will be open through dinner. Thanks. Okay, back again. If you're still eating, obviously all the tables are done going through, but if you're still eating, go ahead, and we're gonna go ahead and start the program. If you need to get up and get a drink or anything, go ahead and do that. So now that we're full and happy, or fat and happy, or whatever, let's give a round of applause to C&T Catering. They did a great job tonight. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, I want to bring up Gertrude Whitaker, the Chamber Director, who along with the board and the committees orchestrated this great program tonight. So, Gertrude.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good evening. And I can speak, so I'm going to talk twice as long. Little joke from last year, if you remember. It's great to have my voice and my health, and I know we have quite a few of our members and guests that weren't able to come tonight because of illnesses that have struck their children or themselves, and so just take care of yourselves and stay healthy. But I want to say welcome to you. It's such a privilege to have all of our business members and their guests here tonight to enjoy this annual dinner and awards celebration. What a great crowd. I wanted to also just give a few thank yous. Doug already pointed out to our caterer, C&T Catering, and the great meal they did. But this type of an event wouldn't happen without the hard work of a lot of people. I'm just one person that works in the chamber office, but I need the help of some really neat people that help make our chamber as effective as it is. And I want to take the time now just to recognize them. And that's our Chamber Diplomat Committee. We have a subcommittee who specifically worked on planning this event already 3-4 months ago. Monthly meetings, a lot of hard work doing things behind the scenes that I wouldn't then have to worry about doing. And you don't know what kind of a burden that is to have that lifted, to have someone else carry the load. I want to have, first of all, Ginger Scholl be recognized. She was our table captain this evening. But Ginger was also our chairwoman during 2016 and 17 for the Diplomat Committee. And I appreciate the work that Ginger did in preparing our agendas and leading that group. And Ginger, I know you're hiding back there and you're probably going to get mad at me or something later on, but thank you for everything that you have done and for your work on the subcommittee. Our new Diplomat Committee chairwoman, Renee Nesbitt, with Fayette Regional Health Systems. She is the one that we look to as our point person and spearheading all the activity, and we appreciate the work that she did. Our other subcommittee members, Brian Durham with Whitewater Broadcasting, Kelly Isaacs with Kelly Distinctive Design. The decorations are from her and also from Clark's East Side, and as well as Carol Hunter with FCN Bank. Thank you so much. That was just the subcommittee. We have other diplomats who throughout the year help us do the work of our chamber and raise the funds that we need to be able to work to bring you the programming and the support that the chamber brings to our business community. The other diplomats include Jim Birch with State Farm Insurance, Colleen Frame with Independence Title and Escrow Company, Melinda Sudoff, she's our Fayette County clerk, Karen Lippincott with Karen Lippincott Insurance, Pam Parrott with Union Savings and Loan Association, and Shirley Risch with American Heritage Realty. So thank you so much, diplomats. We appreciate you. We have a great speaker set up tonight, and I couldn't believe that we got Mr. Benner so easily, and I found out tonight in talking to Kay Flum, she was acting like it wasn't a big deal. She said, I made an email and a quick phone call, and he said yes. And I'm like, great, that's fantastic. So with getting information out to our chambers, when we're looking for a speaker, looking for a place for a meeting, or for someone who has expertise on an issue, I'm going to get that word out to you to say, hey, I need your help to help me. And that allows us to bring in the right kind of people that can speak, that can help us move forward as a chamber. So I want to just use that plug to say, watch for your newsletters. I send that out every month, and it goes through our chamber through a secure network. You can click open that PDF and see what's going on. That's what's going to keep you connected. And so check those newsletters and look for that information on a regular basis. Before we move forward, I want to do some introductions of people that are important to not just the chamber, but also to our community as a whole. And these are our elected officials. These are the people that we put into office, we elect as our representatives on various levels. And it's important that a Chamber of Commerce works as a business advocate for our business community to those elected officials. We have a Government Affairs Council committee with our chamber. We only meet on an ad hoc basis. We had a few meetings in the beginning of 2016 when the issue of the public safety tax was being discussed. There's potential for other issues coming up in this new year in 2018 that may be looking at affecting how we collect and spend our taxes. And it's important then that as a chamber that you use this organization as your umbrella to get your opinion and your voice to those elected officials. You're going to be receiving through our chamber website and your member portal information about questions and surveys on opinions of how issues affect your business, that whether it's our local or state government makes. I need you to respond back. That allows our committee then to make decisions and debates that we can forward on, whether it's an op-ed piece or giving insight to whether it's our city or county officials on those issues. They haven't heard from us as a business community, and they need to. So I need you to make sure that you stay involved with the chamber and let your voice be heard. It's not X, Y, or Z business that's going to be, said that's their opinion. It's under the chamber of the umbrella of the chamber, so that you as a member have that overall support, and it's not any one business giving an opinion. So keep plugged in with that. And with that said, in no particular order, I want to recognize our elected officials. They put a lot of time and do a lot of things in behind the scenes that oftentimes we take for granted and don't realize. And so I do want to call their names. Please hold your applause and we'll recognize them then at the end. So we have Holly Dunn with Fayette County Council, Dale Strong also with our council, Mike Wenta, the president of our Fayette County Council. We have Kay Payton with the Fayette County Council. We have our honorable mayor, Harold Gordon, here tonight, along with our First Lady, Pat Gordon. Thank you for being here. Craig Howell, Harrison Township Advisory Board, Sherry Kendall with the Harrison Township Trustee. We have our sheriff, Joey Laughlin, here tonight. Betty Jones was here during our reception. She had other responsibilities that took her away, so she couldn't stay for the program, but she's our Fayette County prosecutor. We have our Superior Court Judge, Paul Freed, Dave Nutty, City of Connorsville Council, a lot of words here, Ruth Nutty, Fayette County Recorder. We have Melinda Setoff. Not only is she a great diplomat member, but she's also our Fayette County Clerk. And we also have Melvin Dice, he's the Jackson Township Advisory Board. And we have Leota King, our Fayette County Commissioner. And then the two final ones that represent our federal elected officials is John Moten, who's the district director with Congressman Luke Messer's office, who's here with us tonight, and then Melissa Acton with our U.S. Senator Todd Young's office. We appreciate you being here and keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on in Fayette County, because we need you to be plugged in and listen to what our businesses are telling you and where we are in terms of our need as a community. So we will always make sure that we invite you and keep you plugged in with this community. With that said, let's move on with our program. We have a lot more going on, and it's my privilege right now to introduce, on behalf of our board president, who could not be here tonight from 2016 and 17, Ben Harvey. He had other work responsibilities that kept him away, but Dan Parker will be saying a few words on his behalf as we move forward in this program. Dan? While Dan's coming up, I don't know how I could forget this, because I have three people that I really need to give a big thank you to that are here tonight. I shared with you that as an only staffer, there's a lot of things that I can't do unless I have extra help. And I had interns and volunteers that worked with me over these last 2 years that I want to recognize tonight. First of all, and you know what, I'm blessed in so many ways, but Louise Whitaker, my mother-in-law, my first year at the chamber office, she came in every Wednesday and helped me as we were setting up our new database, getting information into the system. That takes a lot of time and effort. And Mom, thank you for your help. I appreciate it so much. she finally said, "Girl, I have a life. I got places to go, so I'm not doing this anymore." Just kidding. I know she always has my back, and I appreciate her and Tom so much. But this year, in 2017, we had 2 interns. Beth Shank, Beth, wave your hand. She's even here tonight taking photos for us. She came to the chamber office in the summer quarter through the State of Indiana Teacher and Industry Grant. And also Kristen Lawson, who for other responsibilities couldn't be here, is another hometown girl. Went through to IU East, and we have a great representation from that university here tonight. And she graduated in December, but as she was finishing her last quarter, she interned in our office. And that young lady helped set up our Instagram, our social media with Twitter. I was like, "Girl, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I need your help." And she did it. And so it's running. Now we have 2 people following us on Twitter. Thank you, Pam Pearson with Natco. And then someone else from, I don't know, Justin Timberlake or something like that. But anyway, so if you've got a Twitter account, get plugged in and follow us. All right? At least the young people in this room are going to, and so that's where the future's going. So we use that social media a lot. But with that said, I wanted to just give those thank yous to those very important volunteers that have been a big benefit. So Dan, I just ate into your time, so keep it short.
Thank you, Gertrude. Before I begin, I just want to share with you how lucky we are to have somebody like Gertrude Whitaker guiding the Connersville Chamber of Commerce. One of the board members, whose name I won't mention, Donna Stearns, I thought it would be a good idea for me to do this tonight, so here we go. I'd like to just kind of recap for you some of the things that have made a great year for the Chamber in 2017. The legislative series that helps us with issues that affect business has been a great success. Dealing with state budget updates. You'll recall we had Gary Dick here from Inside Indiana Business. And then also there was a kind of the state of the city and state of the county by the elected officials that was a great success. Also that comes out of the chamber office is a monthly newsletter that Gertrude has already alluded to. That is just such a valuable piece of information that we should all look at as they come out, because there's just a ton of information that we'll find in these newsletters. The Chamber Network nights, great fun after work, kind of replaced the monthly noon hour networking lunch that we used to have, and now we do this at night at various businesses that host, and it's been a great success. Gives us opportunities to network and to get to know each other a little better. Then also, and this is where Gertrude has really put a great emphasis on small business. She has worked with the Indiana Small Business Development Center, ISBDC, in helping businesses that are maybe struggling, or business people that are considering going into business. She involves those people with the ISBDC, and it's been a great help to us. And the last thing that I'm going to mention here is the website, which Gertrude really works this thing and keeps it up to date. It is really the kind of the ears and eyes of the community, and it allows us to be seen by everybody. And there are job postings and lots of other information that is valuable in the website. Now, probably one of the things you think about when you think of the chamber is ribbon cuttings and new businesses opening, and that is correct. That a lot of that goes on. It's these other things that I've mentioned in addition to that, that has really made a great year. And so with that, I would like to just thank Ben Harvey for his 2 years of leadership as board chair for the Chamber of Commerce. He's done a great job, and as Gertrude mentioned, he's not going to be able to be here this evening. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce the board chair for 2018, a friend of mine and a great person, Krista Gibson. Krista, would you come up? Now, Krista, when you get here, I'm planning on talking about 5 more minutes. Just kidding.
Good evening. First, I would just like to thank everyone for attending our event this evening in support of the Chamber. I'm so excited to see where 2018 is going to take us. The Chamber is here for you, and I encourage you to reach out to us for support or any assistance your business needs. I'm looking forward to serving as this year's president, increasing our memberships and ensuring that the Chamber is a great resource for our community. Please sit back and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Now it's time to hear about a topic that we're all interested in, and that's sports. Bill and I were talking earlier before the dinner got started, and I think it was back in 1978, late 70s, that Bill was working for the Star, and I was lucky enough to be making a few headlines on the golf course back then. So, Bill, we had a few interviews that we got to know each other, and then that sort of led to a few tailgating parties down at IU, thanks to Jim Aiken and my brother-in-law Jay and a bunch of us that used to get together and talk about some lies and some old stories. So, but Bill has been traveling. What Gertrude said on the invitation, the glory road of sports for about 50 years. And I told him earlier that, gee, you're not that old. Now, I am, but you're not. But he's seen a lot of sports stories, and I know he's got a lot of sports stories for us too. So I'll have Brian Durham come up, and the United Way is sponsoring Bill's appearance tonight. So I'll have Brian come up and introduce Bill. Thanks.
I don't know if I'm fortunate or unfortunate to know Bill tonight, because Jim asked me to introduce him because I had the opportunity to meet him about a decade ago and have been continuing to tailgate with him at IU football games for the last decade. But to touch on what the United Way has been up to here recently, in 2015, we became an all-volunteer organization. And in that time, we've given close to $100,000 back to our community through grants. Most recently, this past grant cycle, we gave 9 Sunshine grants ranging from $4,000 to $500 in many different organizations. Since 2015, we've given $22,000 to various food pantries here in Fayette County. And at that same time, we've given $11,500 to the House of Ruth, $10,000 to the Hope Center, and $8,000 to various arts organizations, including our Whitewater Valley Artists Association downtown here in Connorsville. We couldn't do it without our executive director, Jim, who sang the national anthem tonight, one of his many hidden talents that he doesn't often talk about. But our volunteers, our board, I'm sure there are our board members here. I know Wanda's here, and I know Michael's here. I saw Mark here, our board at the United Way. We work hard to help out our community, but we couldn't do it without people in this room, our donors, and I wanted to take time to thank many of our donors and who are you guys here in this room. So if you guys could just give yourselves a round of applause for helping us give away $100,000 since 2015. And I want to introduce our speaker tonight, the man you all came to see, hopefully. It's weird calling him Mr. Benner. When I was first introduced to him by Steve Kiefer in 2009, he told me, "I think Bill used to work at the Star." Now, at that time, I was a freshman journalism student at IU who knew who Bill Benner was, and 33 years as a sports writer at the Indy Star, that's kind of important. But for Steve and his nonchalantness that I've came to know and love over the years, he's just the most casual person I think I've ever met. And to introduce Bill as somebody who used to work for the Star, I thought was very, very funny and appropriate for Steve. It's what we like to call Steve-isms between Susan and I. And when I was introduced to him as a journalism student, I told him what I wanted to be when I grew up, I guess. And I told him I wanted to be a sports writer. And he looked at me and shook his head and said, "Why would you ever want to do something like that?" But I've spent a lot of Saturdays with Bill and his family. And sadly, those have been some of the most disappointing Saturdays of my entire life as an IU football fan. We're always hopeful. We come back every single year. Jim and Kay and Steve and Susan and Bill, we're all there every Saturday in Bloomington. Well, we keep coming, but it never seems to work out for us. So I don't know if we're just gluttons for punishment or we're just IU football fans. And it is what it is. Disappointment runs through our blood. But in meeting Bill, it was kind of a big deal for me as a journalism student. He's somebody that I look up to. He spent 33 years at the Indianapolis Star, followed by a stint at the Indiana Business Journal from 2001 to 2013. He then went on to work for Pacer Sports and Entertainment as a senior vice president of corporate and public relations. You can see him on Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. And in 2012, he was the media relations coordinator for a little event in Indianapolis known as the Super Bowl. He's ran the gamut of sports from the high school level, the Olympics, the Masters, covered nearly 20 NCAA Final Fours. He's kind of a legend in Indiana sports. And in 2017, in April, he became a Hall of Famer. But more importantly, he's just a wonderful person. Somebody that I've come to know and someone I consider a friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Benner.
Well, good evening. Good evening. It's great to be here. Gertrude, you need to perk up a little bit. I mean, you need a little more energy, okay? Work on that, please. Doug, always great to see you. I gave him a few swing tips, and so it's helped his career a little bit. I'm honored that you would have me here tonight, and think that what I might have to share is semi-interesting, and I hope you still feel the same way in about 20 or 25 minutes. I want to begin by acknowledging, you heard his name a while ago, my friend of nearly 50 years, Jim Aiken. Jim, wave, yeah. Mr. Container Craft, his lady Kay, his son Bill. We've shared many, many experiences following Indiana University football and basketball. Some we can talk about and some we can't, right, Jim? Yeah. But for sure, we both share the dream that we will see the Hoosiers return to the Rose Bowl, and maybe win another basketball national championship. And if that sounds foolish, well, in the words of the late, great IU football coach Terry Hepner, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So every week when I go to Bloomington for football, I think we can. And then Rutgers happens, and I've realized that we couldn't on the way home. This is actually my second trip to Connersville in the last couple months. I was over here in December with the Pacers as we gave away toys as part of our big toy giveaway. It was a great, great event, so I was happy to be involved with that. And then the Pacers Foundation, for which I serve as the executive director, we've also supported the Hope Center here in Connersville, so we're very proud of that as well. Thank you. So I was born in Indianapolis, but before I turned 5, we moved to a farmhouse in Center Grove, back when the Grove was still a little farm school, and way before it became the big suburban school that it is today. Now, of course, I know that Center Grove is forever linked to Connersville sports lore, because Center Grove lost the Indianapolis semi-state to Connersville in 1972. But at least, that was the championship game, but at least that afternoon, Center Grove upset number 1 ranked Richmond, so we cleared the path, all right? Connersville really took it to the Grove that night. My brother David, by the way, who's the director of media relations for the Pacers, he was a student manager on that Center Grove team, and he still hasn't quite gotten over it. So when I told him I was coming to Connersville tonight, he was not pleased. And anyway, that was well before we screwed up multi-class basketball, which later as a columnist for the Star I lobbied strongly against, and that shows you how much clout that I really had. But back to the farmhouse. It sat on a hill overlooking Indiana 37. As a boy on weekends, I would watch the traffic on 37 heading back and forth, and at least I always presumed it was going to Bloomington, not Martinsville. And the first team that I remember was the 53 national champions of the Hoosiers, led by Bobby Leonard and Don Schlunt, and coached by Branch McCracken. My dad listened to that team radio calls, and I sat next to him, and that really began my lifelong love affair with Indiana University. Now, it was my dream to go to IU Bloomington, and I eventually got there, but not until after a life-altering set of circumstances that led to my career in sports writing. It literally changed my life, and profoundly for the better. But it was also when I learned a very valuable life lesson that sometimes what you think is an obstacle becomes an unbelievable opportunity. And that's where my nearly 50-year joyride covering sports, and especially Indiana sports, began. So my family was rich in many, many ways, but money was not one of them. And so I knew that if I was going to go to college, I was going to have to work my way through and pay my way through. So that ruled going to IU Bloomington out for my first couple of years. So I enrolled in what was then called the IU Extension. It's now IUPUI, but then it was 3 classroom converted office buildings in downtown Indianapolis. So that's what I did during the day, my freshman year. At night, I was very fortunate. I got a job in the sports department in the Indianapolis Star as what they called a score boy. Now again, this was long before computers and instant communication. And you actually had to call a number, 317-633-1200. That was the number. To get sports results. We settled bets. We had bookies calling in all the time. But that's what we did. And but it got my foot inside the door, because right across the hall from our little scoreboy shack was the sports department of the Indianapolis Star, led by Bob Collins and Cy McBride and Max Stoltz and Harrison Howard and Bob Williams, and some of the giants in sports journalism at that time, guys that I had grown up reading in the Indianapolis Star. Now, I had a I wrote for the high school yearbook, I wrote for the high school newspaper, but I had no idea that this is where my career path would take me. But again, my foot was in the door. So after a year, my freshman year at the IU Extension, taking classes during the day, working in the sports department at night, I bravely marched across the hall one day in about April or May the following spring, and I said to Cy McBride, who was the executive sports editor at the time, I want to do what you guys do. And he said, okay, kid, we'll give you a shot. So I moved from the scoreboy shack across into the big sports department, and I then began taking bowling scores and Little League scores, and occasionally making a run to the nearby tavern for the sports editor's nightly libation. But I had my foot in the door. In August of that year, Everybody was on vacation, and we had a woman from Greenwood, Indiana. Her name was Mary McElwain. She won the state table tennis championship, ping pong. And Cy said, "Hey kid, I got an assignment for you. I got a writing assignment for you." I said, "What is it?" I thought I was going to, do something really big and cool. "Well, it's a state table tennis champion." I said, "Ping pong?" And he went, "Ping pong. Go interview her, write a story about her." So I said, "What the heck?" So I went and interviewed Mary McElwain, crafted about 500 words, nervous as could be, handed it over to Cy. He started scratching it up and marking it up, but at the end he said, "That's not bad, and we're going to run it in tomorrow's Indianapolis Star." So in August of 1968, I got my first byline, and that was the hook had been set. And so that turned out pretty good, and I stayed then in the sports department during my sophomore year, still going to the IU Extension, but they began to give me more assignments. They sent me out to a high school game, they sent me out to cover a little basketball, and just stuff that the big guys couldn't or wouldn't do. By the time I finished my second year, I had now saved enough money to go to IU Bloomington, and then I became their other kind of correspondent for not IU football and IU basketball, but other IU stuff that took place. The kid was on campus, and so they let me have assignments, and it all turned out pretty well, and I had, again, what was an obstacle became an opportunity. And when I left IU in 1971, except for a short stint serving the government and the Army, I was there. So I started out my first 3 years, I covered high schools. I thought it was the most intoxicating thing I've ever done. If you haven't seen the movie The Post yet, it's all about the days of hot type and 5 editions. And this was the Indianapolis Star back in the heydays. And it was, like I said, it was intoxicating. In 1974, I got a huge, huge career break. Indianapolis built Market Square Arena. They added a hockey team, the Indianapolis Racers. The guy that was covering the Pacers was a hockey guy. He wanted to cover hockey. They needed somebody to cover the Pacers. They went, "Here, kid, the beat is yours." And then, so in 1974, I'm covering the Indiana Pacers in the American Basketball Association, coached by my boyhood hero, Bobby "Slick" Leonard. I thought, again, I'd died and gone to heaven. I spent the next 5 years covering the Pacers and the ABA as they moved into the NBA, and I was off and running, and that's how it went. So over the next 33 years with the Star, another 12 years writing a weekly column for the Indianapolis Business Journal, 45 years in all, I was privileged to chronicle what I believe was the greatest era of Indiana sports. Thank you. Now, in addition to covering the Pacers as a beat writer and later as a columnist during the Reggie, 8 points in 8.9 seconds days, I was also there to write about their entry into the NBA, as I mentioned, and the construction of Market Square Arena, which served as the catalyst of what would become the transformation of our sleepy capital city into one of the great sports cities in America. So I covered that first Pacers game at Market Square Arena. I covered the first tennis matches at the Indianapolis Tennis Center, the first football game in the Hoosier Dome, and by the way, trivia question, it wasn't the Colts, it was the Bears versus the Bills, and the first Olympic trials in the auditorium in the track and field stadium at IUPUI. It was all part of this thing that was loosely called the Sports Initiative, with Indianapolis making investments in facilities, infrastructure, organizations to attract both national sports federations, but events like the Final Four, the National Sports Festival, the Pan Am Games, and countless national and international championships. And there I was to cover it all. It was, in the words come to life of one of those visionaries who saw something grander for Indianapolis. His name was Ned Lampkin, and he was a physician and a state representative at the time. And his mantra was, make no small plans and make no small dreams. Another, lesson for all of us. So after Market Square Arena, these crazy nuts went out and built a football stadium without a football team to play in it. It was the Hoosier Dome. And I love this word, serendipity. It was serendipity that before they ever began to look for an NFL team to attract to play in that, they put in blue seats. And so when Mayor Hudnut came walking in with this kind of crazy guy from Baltimore named Bob Irsay, they walked in, and the first thing Bob Irsay saw was Colts blue seats. and shortly thereafter, the deal was done, and the Colts and the Mayflower vans were on their way from Baltimore to Indy, which led to eventually another fellow named Peyton Manning, and before we knew it, there was a Super Bowl victory parade, and plans for a new stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium, were underway. And Lucas Oil then begat Indianapolis hosting a Super Bowl, which it did so well and so successfully that the NFL then rewrote the bid manual for all future host cities based on what Indianapolis did. And by the way, taking a page from the Indy playbook, there is a zip line in Minneapolis this week, but there won't be 60 degrees like the February temperatures that we enjoyed during that week. And that just shows you another reason that God loves Indiana. But back to the Hoosier Dome, here's what it also did. This, and again, serendipity. Basketball, at that time, the first Final Four in Indy, 1980, held at Market Square Arena. But just after that, the NCAA tournament expanded to 64 teams and began to become a true national event. And there was this crazy little fledgling network called ESPN that was looking for programming. It was a marriage made in heaven. So as the tournament expanded and became nationally popular, it quickly outgrew conventional venues such as Market Square Arena, for example. And they began to, because the ticket demand was so vast, they began to look at dome stadiums. And there was Indianapolis with a dome stadium attached to a convention center. And so when the Final Four returned in 91 and again in 97, it came to the Hoosier/RCA Dome. And along those same lines, because we had an auditorium, we had a world-class track facility, we began hosting a wide variety of NCAA events, so much so that we built up relationships with the NCAA, so that in 1997, the NCAA, after it held a Final Four in Indianapolis, announced that it was looking to relocate its national headquarters from the Kansas City suburb of Overland Park. Initially, there were 50-some cities that bid, including, of course, Indianapolis. They cut it to 12, and Indianapolis was not among those 12. But the guy who had been running the NCAA Final Four, a guy named Tom Jernstedt, said, you know what? You need to take another look at Indianapolis. And so they did, and Indianapolis made the Final Four. It was Denver, Kansas City, Dallas, Indy. And because Indianapolis came forward with a $50 million private-public partnership effort to lure the NCAA announced that it would relocate to Indianapolis. And then what did that do? 3 years later, to reward Indianapolis for its investment, the NCAA signed a memorandum of understanding with the Sports Corporation, our nonprofit, and with the city of Indianapolis, where it agreed to bring NCAA men's, women's Final Fours, NCAA championships, the NCAA's annual convention to Indianapolis on a regular rotating basis, which continues through this day. Along the way, there was also a decision that Market Square Arena had a couple of issues. One, they built it 3 blocks above Market Street, and as the world advanced, that became a significant security risk. And as venues advanced, it lacked many of the amenities that you see today. So a decision was made to build Conseco Fieldhouse, now Bankers Life, and that led to the attraction of the Big Ten men's and women's basketball tournaments. In fact, a great story about the Big Ten championships, basketball, coming in Indianapolis. In 1994, the Big Ten started a Big Ten women's tournament. Nobody wanted, they put out an RFP among Midwest Big Ten cities. Nobody wanted it except Indianapolis. We'll take a try as women's basketball. We know, but this is what we do. We do these kinds of events. Indianapolis brought the Big Ten women's basketball tournament. They played it at Hinkle. They played it 1 year in the RCA Dome, and then when they built Conseco, they moved it to Conseco and did such a good job and devoted so much attention to this event that nobody else wanted that Big Ten said, God, we love Indy and we love its convenience and we love the way everything fits. And they decided to bring the men's tournament as well. And then a few years later, because I was on the bid committee, we flew to Chicago and we got the Big Ten for 5 straight years, the Big Ten men's tournament for 5 straight years. It's now going, this year it's in New York, God only knows why. Well, I know why, TV. and Jim Delaney. And last year was in Washington, but it will return to Indianapolis, and we've had this great relationship with the Big Ten. So I've gotten to witness this incredible change in our city because, in our state, because of the investment in sports. I was also lucky enough to have a relationship with guys like John Wooden. I got to see the Butler torch pass from Tony Hinkle, the legend, to eventually a young coaching whiz named Brad Stevens. And then all of a sudden I was sitting courtside as the media relations coordinator for the 2010 Final Four when I watched a half-court heat from an Indiana kid named Gordon Hayward set up by a crushing pick from another kid you may have heard of around here, Matt Howard, and it almost would end for what would have been one of the greatest sports stories of all time. Shortly thereafter, the commissioner of the Horizon League, John LaCrone, who I'd known for years, called me out on the phone. He said, "We got to do something about our increased national profile. You want to come work in intercollegiate athletics?" I said, "Well, sure." And so I ended up as the senior associate commissioner for external affairs for the Horizon League as they went to another Final Four the following year. I was also able to write about a couple of other kids from Indiana who went on to have decent professional careers, Oscar Robertson, Larry Bird. And I was there when Larry Bird returned to Indiana to prove to the Pacers and the world that yes, great players can also become great coaches. I was there in 1990 in the Hoosier Dome when another Indiana kid, we all know him by his first name, Damon, as in Bailey, scored the last 11 points to lead Bedford North Lawrence to the state championship in front of 41,000 people. Now think about that, 41,000 people to watch a high school basketball game, only in Indiana. I got to write about another Hoosier, Stephanie White, from a little town out in western Indiana. She led Purdue to a national title. I got to know an adopted Hoosier who I'm now proud to call both a colleague and a friend, Tamika Catchings, and she led the Fever to a WNBA championship. And yes, Indiana basketball. In 1976, I was in Philadelphia with, yes, that man, Jim Aiken, watching Bob Knight and his Hoosiers complete an unbeaten championship season, a feat still unmatched. And yes, while I did have some issues later on with Coach Knight, right, Jim? I always said that if I had to choose one coach to prepare to win one game, it would be Robert Montgomery Knight. I was there again with Jim Aiken to cover IU winning 2 more. See, I go to these things, I had to work. They were there to party and celebrate, right, Jim? I was there as IU won 2 more championships. I was there as Knight and Gene Cady went toe-to-toe and head-to-head in elevating the Hoosier Boilermaker rivalry to unprecedented heights. I was in Pasadena when Joe Tiller and Drew Brees took basketball on grass to the promised land of the Rose Bowl. I got to see Bill Mallory make IU football relevant and Anthony Thompson almost win the Heisman. We saw an 8th alternate come out of nowhere, Arkansas, and win the PGA Championship at Crooked Stick. Hello, John Daly. But I didn't get to see that because I was actually in Havana, Cuba, covering the Pan Am Games. And on the day of the opening of the PGA, I went and interviewed the only golf pro at the only golf course in Cuba, a little 9-hole terrible course called the Diplo Club. I saw Notre Dame win national titles under Ara Parseghian, Dan Devine, Lou Holtz, and I saw the Irish basketball team stop UCLA's winning streak. And lest we forget, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I saw Tony Holman modernize that place, hand it off to his family, and it welcomed Formula One, NASCAR, and now a wide variety of events. And of course, the Indy 500 still remains the biggest single-day sporting event in the world. And I got paid to write about all of it. And these are just the Indiana things. As been mentioned, I was also fortunate to cover the Masters, 1980, Doug Fischer, the U.S. Opens, 3 Olympic Games, 2 Pan Am Games, more Final Fours than I count. How can one guy be so lucky? And especially to come along at the time that I did. I'm just blessed beyond measure. So what's next? Well, Indy's success certainly isn't going away. In 11 months, beginning in February of 2021, we will host the NBA All-Star Game, the Men's Final Four again, the Big Ten Football Championship, and the College Football Championship. What an incredible lineup of events. Now, how do we get those? Well, let me talk about the NBA All-Star Game. There were 15 bid cities for the NBA All-Star Game in 2021. 14 mailed their bids in. We had Larry Bird drive an IndyCar down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan and deliver the bid to the commissioner of the NBA. Hello. The men's Final Four, it dates back to that memorandum of understanding that they signed back in 2002. The college football championship, they said, we need to go to a northern city. Oh, Indianapolis, will you take this? That's pretty remarkable. It's pretty extraordinary. And as for teams and individuals, what lies ahead? Well, we'll see. If you haven't checked out the Pacers, they got this guy named Victor Oladipo. They got him in a trade with this guy named Domas Sabonis, and they shipped this guy named Paul George away, and everybody thought the Pacers got fleeced, and it was a horrible trade. And there we are, 6 games above 500, with virtually the same record as Oklahoma City, and Victor Oladipo is going to the NBA All-Star Game, and Paul George isn't. We got a great nucleus. Think about this. There are 4 guys on the current Purdue team, that are older than 4 of our Pacers. So we have a great future, and we got lots of room under the salary cap coming up. The Colts, well, Andrew Luck, we hope, we pray, we think. I do tell you one thing, though. I like Chris Ballard, the GM, and we'll see what I think Josh McDaniels can do coming from the Patriots. Purdue, Mr. Fraley, they asked me at the table. This is the Final Four team, I think. They have all the pieces. And in football, at the expense of my Hoosiers, another long ride home, they made an amazing turnaround under Jeff Brom. IU, football, basketball, well, like I said earlier, if you think you can or you can't, you're right. So I will continue to think that we can. My wife's heard that phrase on so many rides home from Bloomington, but I still believe that there's hope. In any case, it's been just an amazing ride. 50 years of incredible memories, and so I thank you for letting me share them with you. And all that time, I just have one regret. You guessed it, class basketball. Thanks. And now, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Fraley, would you care to join me up here? I believe. Yeah? Okay. Mr. Boilermaker here.
You know, I used to do Gene Katie impressions. Get up here, Fraley.
You're not even listening.
Why wouldn't you want to play hard?
Okay. That's enough.
Thank you, Mr. Benner, for being here. And Mr. Benner has done more than just come and speak with us this evening. He's going to donate his fee for speaking back into Fayette County. And he's requested that his fee be donated to an organization, pardon me, I've kind of lost my voice here, an organization here in Fayette County that supports families, and well, that's what our community is all about. He's going to donate his money to the Hope Center. So if we could, I don't know who's here from the Hope Center, but if you could come up. Is Jennifer Young here? Jennifer Young is the executive director of the Hope Center. Jennifer, on behalf of Mr. Benner, this presentation to Hope Center, thank you for all the good work you do. Thank you so much.
You know, Bill, the more I think back, as probably Jay, my brother-in-law, and Jim Aiken, and all the other golfers around here that have been looking at my swing over the last 30 or 40 years, the more I think about it, I think those lessons did help me get to a couple of those Masters in the Walker Cup. So what I'm saying is I need you to come back this summer and help me get it back, okay? So I appreciate all the help. But again, that was fantastic. Obviously, you've done so many things in sports. Obviously, sports is a big thing of all our lives, and it was great to hear some of the great things. Of course, we read about it and that all the stuff that you've done with the Star and everything else. So we really appreciate you being here and give us a little insight on all of it. Now to the part of the program we've all been waiting for, the presentation of our yearly awards. These 4 awards recognize the shining lights of our community, and we're excited to hear the outcomes. So with that, I'll call up Linda Henderson up to announce the first award.
I didn't know if you'd be able to see me over this or not. At this time, I would like to present the Beautification Award. This award is given in recognition of an individual group or a business who has made an outstanding contribution to the effort of beautifying and raising the image of Connersville and Fayette County aesthetically through the efforts in their neighborhoods and/or throughout the county. At this time, I would like for Tom Horniger, President, CEO of FCN Bank, to come up, please. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Tom. Beautification, by our definition in the award, is something that helps raise the image of Connersville. FCN Bank has blessed our community with their brand new branch office at 3rd Street and Central Avenue. They took an area that was uninviting and distressed and turned it into the best looking corner in Connersville. The corner of 3rd Street and the Central Avenue was blighted, and this investment by FCN Bank turned it into a beautiful streetscape on one of the busiest thoroughways in town. Anyone who is traveling to or through Connersville will most likely see the new building, especially those who ride the Whitewater Valley Railroad. FCN Bank's building is seen as a gateway into our city and greatly enhances the look of downtown Connersville. One of the nomination forms stated, FCN Bank's new building helps make the city more attractive to the people wanting to move here, work here, and start a family here. They have a community park in their backyard, which I honestly think Bank makes look more inviting. Not only is the structure beautiful, the parking lot and sidewalks really add to the area. I am glad businesses like FCN Bank is what visitors are seeing. It's inviting, it's a beautiful structure, and it proves Connersville is progressing and moving forward. After making the decision to relocate their Fayette County branch to the heart of downtown, FCN Bank donated their Everton Bank facility back to the community of Everton. Then on April 29, 2016, FCN Bank held a community-wide grand opening in celebration of their new banking center at 105 West 3rd Street, Connersville, Indiana. And at this time, I'd like to, Fayette County Title would like to present you with the Beautification Award.
Thank you. There's a lot of people that make something like the project we took on a few years ago happen. And it's a long list, and the biggest fear you have is leaving someone off that list. And so I would like to thank a lot of people in the decision-making process that encouraged us to make this move. The business, the political leaders here in town, the business owners, accountants, anybody who came to tell us, come to Connersville. There were barriers to redeveloping a multi-parcel site down there that we had to overcome. There were environmental issues and everything else, and everybody in this town pulled together to help us make it happen, and it is greatly appreciated. In addition, we have enjoyed success in our new location, and it has to do with there is a vibrant business community here and has welcomed us. Our staff, I cannot say enough about our staff, some of which worked for years in Everton, and people who have joined us since. Our leaders in Carol and Linda have done a wonderful job. But mostly, I'd like to thank the community of Everton, who got us our start in Fayette County, who grew that branch and have been loyal and trustworthy of our bank. And we are thankful to everybody in this community. We were glad, we're happy with the location as well, but the way you've welcomed us is greatly appreciated by the people at the bank, by our board of directors and our shareholders. Thank you very much.
Each year, the Chamber seeks to award the Humanitarian Award to an individual who promotes human welfare. This year, the award recognizes an organization. It is my privilege to announce that the winner of the 2017 Humanitarian Award is Fayette Regional Health System. Randy, the Fayette Regional Health System CEO, is unable to be with us tonight, but I would invite Dan Parker, who is Vice President of the Board, and also Don Day, who is Vice President of Patient Services, to come up. Fayette Regional Health System was founded in our community in 1913. Many of you attending tonight's event were born in that original building. I don't know that maybe not a lot of us were, but in today's world, Fayette Regional Health System offers both inpatient and outpatient services in a variety of locations. Not only labs and x-rays, but they have a cancer care center, a heart care center, and a women's and children's center, all right here at home. Companies that are looking to relocate to a new city hold in high regard communities with family medical care. Fayette Regional Health System offers all of this and more. Tonight, we're recognizing and focusing on the more. All those behind-the-scenes acts of kindness and generosity we often take for granted. As one of the largest employers in the county, we often fail to recognize the good promoted by Fayette Regional Health Systems, which is not part of their for-pay health care services. They do free monthly luncheons and education at the Fayette County Senior Center with weekly health screenings on one of our most vulnerable population groups, which some of us are in. Free quarterly lunch and health education at the Pattern Senior Mills Apartments. Free athletic training staff, services and supplies to the Connersville High School Athletic Association. Discounted school sports physicals, donating all proceeds back to the CHS Athletic Training Fund. Fayette Regional Health System employs donations for Department of Child Services annual Christmas Gift of Love drive, in-kind donations and resources for several area organizations and events, including Community Sharing Food Bank, DCS's Every Child Matters, CHS Athletics, Community Youth Day, Hope Pregnancy Center, Fayette County School Corporation, Fayette County Drug Coalition, The Haven, Lions Club, and many, many more county organizations and causes. Free parenting classes are offered at Fayette Regional Care Pavilion, supporting their adolescent mental health care and treatment program. Free substance abuse prevention and education programs at Connersville High School. Free health insurance information for the uninsured and the underinsured. IndianaRuralHealth.org lists Fayette Regional Health Systems as the #1 hospital in saving lives from opiates. Fayette Regional is sure to continue as a leader as they prepare to open this first-of-a-kind North Star Recovery Center at the main hospital campus. Our healthcare providers and staff give hometown care and comfort that comes only from the small town feel you don't see in larger cities. On behalf of Whitewater Valley Rehabilitation, it's my pleasure to present the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce Humanitarian Service Award to Fayette Regional Health Systems.
Well, as a new community member, back from Arizona, I was born and raised in Centerville, but after 11 years of being out there, came back here specifically for the cause that you just heard about. I'm here along with this fine team to really work on that opioid addiction issue in this area and get this town healed, if you will. Really a homecoming for me, and it's been a blessing to meet many of you in the audience and work with you on different task force and different opportunities that we've been able to accomplish so far in the community, and look forward to meeting many more of you in the future.
Thank you, Don. It's truly an honor to be able to accept the award on behalf of the hospital leadership. It is a team effort. Everything that Donna listed in her remarks is true, and it speaks to the team that is Fayette Regional. In addition to the many community outreach projects that we take part in, we're also expanding and improving many services within Fayette Regional Health System so that our community can have access to superior health services closer to home. We recently expanded our sleep diagnostic center and upgraded the newest diagnostic equipment. Fayette Regional's radiology department upgraded the mammography suite with the latest 3D mammography equipment, which allows us to have the most accurate technology in the area. Our partnership with St. Vincent's Heart Health continues to allow convenient access to Indiana's #1 cardiology service. The new radiation oncology suite within our cancer care center houses the most state-of-the-art new linear accelerator in the region. Services like these allow us to create new jobs in the community. Donna mentioned the North Star Recovery Center project that is currently underway. This new service alone will bring over 100 new jobs to the community. The creation of jobs will assist with infusing the economy or the community with an increased tax base, decreased unemployment rates, and substantially for the hospital itself. This will lead to ancillary benefits for many of the local agencies as well. I wish that each of you could sit with me from my position, from my vantage point on the hospital board, to see what is happening at Fayette Regional. Because there are sweeping changes, all for the good, all for the positive. And being a team effort, from the person who mows the grass, who sanitizes rooms, nurses, doctors, administrators, the administration department, it is truly a team effort. And we're improving the health opportunities for our citizens and our loved ones. So thank you very much for this award. It means a lot to Fayette Regional. Thank you.
First off, I wanted to say I know that my father would really like to be here tonight to celebrate these businesses with us. However, he is at home battling this bug that has been going around. So tonight I'll be presenting the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Award. This award is to be given to a small business or entrepreneur that demonstrates and exemplifies the American dream of free enterprise and success. This award is given to a business that has and continues to make a significant contribution and impact on the community by their superior or unique accomplishments in the operation of their business or other endeavors. Through its integrity and charity, this small business or entrepreneur should provide a goodwill spirit and character within the community. Now I would like to invite Jason and Robin Mays to come join me here in the front, owner of Yode's Frozen Goodness. Small businesses are the lifeblood of the economy. Small mom and pop shops pour their blood, sweat, and tears into making their ventures a success. Robin and Jason Mays at Yode's Frozen Goodness have put everything they have into a new small business in the former Walmart Plaza on Park Road. Their innovative design and frozen yogurt to sell by the cup instead of by weight has allowed them to be more affordable for families and help grow their business from the ground up. The Mays have put everything they have into growing a small business in our community. Jason is a lifelong Fayette County resident, and Robin has been here for over a decade. Both have witnessed the ups and downs here in Connersville. However, they wanted to provide a place for their family to enjoy, a fun place without having to drive out of town. They were not scared to make the investment in their community and provide a delicious service to those seeking it. In addition to their service, they had made an investment in the plaza location that has seen storefronts close, and they've been successful. They epitomize small business owners in America, making a plan, taking a calculated risk to develop, and ultimately being successful. In a short time, they have been quick to help out with churches, youth organizations, and community events. One nominee stated that anytime they asked Robin or Jason to step up with a community project, they have been more than willing to help. The Mays recognize the value of giving back while at the same time growing their business. So on the behalf of Tim's Auto Outlet, it is my pleasure to present the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce Small Business and Entrepreneur Award to Jason and Robin Mays. Robin Mays.
Well, I don't have anything prepared. I wasn't expecting this. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't be here tonight, as Yode's was her idea, as far as the name and the business and all of it together. I'm the muscle behind the brains here, so I'm not much of a speaker. She is, but thanks to the community for supporting our business, and glad to have the opportunity to build something for the community. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Amy Hammonds on behalf of Union Savings and Loan Association. I'm happy to introduce the Citizen of the Year Award criteria. It represents the highest recognition given by the Chamber to any individual member of the business community. Candidates must be or have been active in the Fayette County business community with the following criteria. Demonstrates leadership, success in promoting the development of the community, overall involvement in and contributions to the community, participation in professional activities, and respected reputation among the community's leadership. On behalf of Union Savings and Loan Association, I would like to invite Sharon McQueen to the podium. Sharon McQueen was not born and raised in Connorsville. She adopted this community as home, which is why her nomination as Citizen of the Year is so special. Sharon is a passionate person with a deep appreciation for the arts and all that brings beauty and an essence of class to her adopted home. She doesn't wait for someone else to take care of things. Sharon has come to Connorsville with her sleeves rolled up, ready to make a difference. By now, we all know of Sharon's love for the arts. She is the current president of the Whitewater Valley Arts Association, where she was on the ground floor for moving the Art Association to the downtown Connorsville. The Smith Building at 4th Street and Central was the ideal location. But the building needed a lot of work and investment. Sharon volunteered her time to fundraise and asked for donations for the building's roof, lighting, electrical system, paving, and whatever was needed. She personally wrote and mailed multiple grant applications, each bringing the Art Association's dream closer to the reality. If there was cleaning, painting, or work of any kind, Sharon was in the thick of it. On September 22nd, 2017, the Chamber of Commerce helped celebrate the grand opening of this new arts center, which shines as a cornerstone in Connorsville. Sharon's work didn't stop there. She continues to seek out grants and opportunities that promote cultural enrichment and education through the association. In another example, a board member stated that Sharon McQueen was set to serve as chamber surrogate for helping reapply for the Main Street program, which had been dormant for a few years. Working with the mayor, who is promoting the city's reinvestment program, Sharon sent an email to all downtown business owners on April 19th of 2017 to consider getting involved with the application to the state of Indiana for this important tool used for growth and success for our downtown areas. The response was very positive, and again, the newly Discover Connorsville launched in 2017, with Sharon McQueen serving as the executive director. In his book, Making Vision Stick, author Andy Stanley writes, "It takes more than imagination and passion to make what could be and should be into what is." Seeing a vision become reality requires more than a single burst of energy or creativity. It requires daily attention, daily commitment. Our community is better today than it was a year ago because of Sharon's commitment to stick with it and see a vision become reality. May we see more people in Fayette County step up forward and put Sharon's code of servant leadership. On behalf of Union Savings and Loan, it is my pleasure to present Fayette County Chamber of Commerce 2017 Citizen of the Year to Sharon McQueen. Oh, that's okay. I'll stay up here with you. I'll stay up here with you.
I don't speak in public. Hi. I'm honored. I'm overwhelmed. I'll cry. I always cry. Thank you so much. It takes a village, and I'm just part of it. I love y'all.
Congratulations to all the winners tonight. The Chamber would like to thank everyone that has been a part of this great event tonight. And so everyone drive home safe. And as they always say, we'll see you next year. Also, all the winners, please come up to the podium. We're going to take some pictures so everyone can come up, and we'll be putting it all over the paper tomorrow. So thank you very much.